Good day again. So this is the last of my ideology talks in the context of teaching and learning English. And in this, I will get to the very controversial question of standardization. As you might remember, if you had been following this series, I had been asking for understanding for a kind of substandard or a wrong English which students might use in the process of learning English, right? And every time I put these, rabbit ears, when I put quotations, that was to imply that even the question of a correct English, like this is the English that you should speak, has been questioned for a very long time. Post-colonial theorists or, linguists have questioned why we consider the British English or the American English as the gold standard of this language. Yes, they are the ones who started, they are the ones who gave it to us. But like, for example, Kamala Das, that's a very famous poem, and people in this country like Professor Arjuna Parakrama, who wrote a book called Dehegemonizing English Standards, and many others, are saying that it's really not pertinent anymore that we consider the British or the American standard as being the only correct standard. That there are very varieties of English, many varieties, many accents, many ways of expressing yourself that should be accepted. For example, there are writers in Africa, there were a long time ago and even now, where they purposefully, play around with the language to put in the flavor that their English has. We have done this in Sri Lanka as well, not often. There's only one Gresham Award winner who did that, who completely played around with the language. But that idea that only English and American is correct has been challenged for a very long time. And one worrying thing that I see right now in present Sri Lanka is that we seem to have forgotten that kind of challenge. And there seems to be a conscious effort, especially with regard to pronunciation, to have a very American or British sounding accent to show that I am actually quite fluent in this language. But the point is, those who I would consider quite fluent in language, which I might think, again, this is subjective. Let's say the academics who have written books which are published abroad and respected abroad, they never actually try to put a British or American accent. They have what I would call a Sri Lankan accent. There is something called a Sri Lankan standard accent, which you can use when you speak. So if you need to, and if you're actually in the process of learning, I would advise you, please consider that as a model and not the American or the British, because if you actually try to have a foreign accent, if you naturally get it, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're living there, if your teacher is having a foreign accent, of course, that's a different thing. But if you're actually physically trying to imitate somebody else's accent, it also might hint at the fact that you feel really bad about being your own self within your own context, within your own society. So I would say please be a little bit careful in trying to propagate a British or American accent when you speak in Sri Lanka. The reason I'm actually saying this is that I've noticed so many media channels actually put forward a very foreign accent. Maybe they think that's the in thing to do. I've seen many advertisements in which, well, not many, a few in which a foreigner comes and pats a Sri Lankan saying, my God, how do you learn this kind of English? These are very, very long dead kind of concepts, or should be dead. And it only shows how we still feel inferior the way we were made to feel during the time of the British. So what I'm asking for here is a critical eye on your own practice, in your own use, or if you're in the media, or if you're actually giving lessons on YouTube, because I've seen quite a few which train people in foreign accents. I would say be a bit careful, because French people speak English with a French accent. Australians have their own accent, mate, gate, whatever. The British have their own accent, the Americans have their own accent, they're never the same. So what are we doing as Sri Lankans when we don't actually try to follow our own accent, but imitate somebody else's? Again, this is your personal wish, this is your personal right, but if you're an English teacher, I would like you to think carefully on this, because we might unknowingly be showing a sense of unworthiness or inferiority by telling our students to follow a particular way of speaking. And because speaking is the most obviously visible thing when you're interacting with people, the accent that you use when you talk, your pronunciation, is the first to be judged. And again, I've been talking about the harm of laughing at like the wrong English right through this series. We do very often laugh at the wrong accent. We do it in drama, we do it in films, we do it in reading, right? I need you, all I'm asking is analyze your laughter. Check what you're laughing at, right? And analyze your own need to use a foreign accent in your speaking of the language. And if you're in the process of learning, and if you need to know what accent to follow, I would advise you to have a look at what is called Standard Sri Lankan English also. It all boils down to your choice. It all boils down to what you think is correct. So please feel free. But I thought as an English teacher, I will give you this opinion as well, which is shared again by many others whose names I mentioned in the first program. Think carefully. Speak without a sense of inferiority. Speak with a sense of self-worth, which should not be given to you by the languages you know, right? And go ahead and learn it. Be as good as you can. Be as proficient as you can. Start on the journey, and all the very best to reaching a particular level of English which makes you feel very comfortable with that use. So thank you very much for listening to this whole series, and good luck with your teaching and with your learning English.